Welcome to the podcast
The
of Grit
very
and
first,
Grace.
very first episode.
Yes, very first episode of Grit and Grace. Soulful conversations that we're going to be having
Okay,
today and forward.
all episodes. This is gonna be a raw podcast.
Raw and unfiltered.
I am your co-host Alice.
And I am Madam Midhead. Don't forget it.
Y'all bear with us through the goofiness. This is our first one. It's gonna get better and more smooth over time. But for now, just be here for the content and the comedic behind the scenes.
It's going to be great. Stick with us, follow us, and flow.
That's all we can do.
All right, let's get into it.
So today's episode is all about community, um, what that looks like, what that feels like, building that, um, making sure that you don't have one community, you have community all in one person, because that's not good either. So everything from community and friendship and family and intimate circles.
That's right. And this is very fitting today because we have community.
With each other.
Yes.
Like I think you already know what a big part of my community you are. I think I don't need to tell you that.
Don't have me on here crying.
Not with your makeup all done now.
I ain't got no tissue. Don't have me on here crying.
No tears.
No tears today. Good tears if you need to. But yes, I'm grateful to be a part of your community. I'm grateful that you are part of my community. It's been much needed for me, I know. And just a little mini background history on our community and how this started.
We gonna go way back or like,
Take it back.
all right, so what is that, 2009, 2010 at Drew Academy?
14.
And then, yep, and then from there, Victory, which we wasn't super close in middle and high school. It was just more like one black girl to another. I see you.
Black girl in passing,
Exactly.
I,
We know each other.
Yeah.
And then at the very itty bitty high school that we went to, all the black girls knew who each other was. Above grades, across classes, all of that.
And when we say itty bitty, it was literally only.
What was your graduating class?
Our graduating class was like 60 something people.
Yeah.
67.
Yeah, I was.
We
just
started
95.
off with 160 something, but by the time we got, through the 4 years, it was like 60 something people that was graduating.
Yeah.
In my class.
We had 90, 95.
Yeah.
That was it.
Y'all did better than us.
But just to, put in perspective, we've been familiar with each other for a long time. I would think community has gotten fostered and cultivated over the last 2 to 3 years, though.
Definitely. Yeah. We rekindled and got closer through social media because someone is a writer.
And someone posts about astrology all the time. And so I would always be sending, spot on for me today.
We had that connection there. She's the writer. I can write, but she's the writer. So that's how we kind of cultivated and then started hanging out and catching back up, from the last, I'm about to age myself, almost 10 years of not really seeing each other, since school or whatever. And it's been rocking ever since. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what is community to you?
Community is like a safe space, but a safe space amongst people. I think a lot of times when people are thinking about community, they are thinking about a specific part of town, or because I'm from Acres Home, so people like the Acres Home community and things like that. But it's not just a place; it's more so about your day-to-day interactions with the people who are in your corner, how you show up for them and how they show up for you.
It really is, and in Acres Home, everybody know each other.
Facts. I can't go
Everybody know
nowhere
each
with my
other.
mama.
You exactly because somebody gonna know.
And
You
that's
know,
another 15, 20-minute conversation. And
getting held up at the grocery store.
that's exactly why me and Claudette don't go to the grocery store together no more.
She gonna hear that.
That's all right. She know.
It wasn't me. It wasn't me.
She know.
No, but I'm actually kind of grateful that we went to school in ex homes.
Oh, for sure.
You know, it's our culture, our type of people, and like you said, it really is big on community. Even though I mean, every area has its flaws and you know, dangerous ventures, but for the most part, like when you go out and it's like, oh, where you from? Echo's home, and somebody else from Echo's home. It's like a little unsaid,
unspoken acknowledgement.
yeah. And then you throw up your foes.
Yeah. Everybody know. Okay, for those who don't know, Acres Home is a historically black community in Northwest Houston that also goes by FOFO because of the metro. And that being like the bus route number and stuff.
And this is why we throw up foes.
Yes.
Family. I don't know what your definition of family is, but for me, as I've gotten older, I guess tying into the community, family is not necessarily who you're related to or who you share blood with, but it is cultivated, I think, and you know, I think it's majority of the time it's covenant between you and another person.
Right.
You know?
I would say that family and community, almost everybody that's family can be a part of community, but not all community is family. They are not mutually, exclusive
to each other.
But family, I do think family has a big choice are the people who you choose.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I know, like, the old folks, you know, I love my old folks, you know, what we hear them a lot say, oh, you can't choose your family. And it's like, we grew up thinking that until you get older and you start to evolve and you see different things and you come up with your own ideas and mentalities, you know, and way of life. You start to learn, like, no, I actually kind of can choose my family.
Yeah, like,
I can't choose who I was born to.
That part.
Born, you know what I'm saying? Might share the same last name or whatever, but that doesn't necessarily make you family.
Like, I feel like the older generation love to say blood ain't thicker than water.
But that ain't the full scripture now.
Come on, somebody.
That ain't the full scripture, you know? It's the covenant of the blood. It's not thicker than the water of the womb. I'm just saying, that's what was said.
But I think that goes to show that people always want to say that, but, you know, sometimes we have some family members. I don't feel obligated to anybody based on the fact that we share genes and blood and all of that. That doesn't, I'm not obligated to anybody based just on that.
So how big would you say your family is?
My mom and my sister.
Okay.
That's about it.
I could say the same.
Like, you know, of course, there's extended family and stuff. But, you know, that's their family. They're not community. They're not, like, my mom and my sister are very much are family and community.
Right. They can exist in the same.
Exactly.
Right. But not necessarily exclusive to each other. I got you. So you said there's different types of communities. What would you say are the different types of communities for you?
I think it's more so acknowledging the roles of the people in your community. Like you and me, we could sit up here, shoot the shit, talk about whatever. We very much have a judgment-free zone with each other. It don't matter if it's work, life, religion, spirituality, sex, bodily functions, whatever. Like me and you just be shooting the shit. Sometimes we be sitting on the couch gossiping like little old ladies for hours.
Especially with a bottle of wine.
Or two. Good. I mean, and so when it comes to community, we have that. It's just like you're very much a safe space for me, and I feel as though I'm a safe space for you. I hope I am anyway. You know,
Yes.
yes, like just being a safe space for each other, but also acknowledging that you're gonna have different roles in your community. Like I said, me, you could talk about everything. There's certain people in my community, we just gonna talk about business. Certain people in the community, we just gonna talk about certain things. Um,
So, in other words, know your role.
know your role and know what role others have with you. Like you across jack of all, like everything within the community that I could be possibly looking for is there with you.
Yeah.
Vice versa.
Yeah.
Like I have some friends that run nonprofits and stuff. I'm not super involved, but when they invite me out, I show up. I
Right.
show up, I support. That's a way to have community, not just from the transactional or the donation aspect of it, but actually giving your time too. So community can look different for everybody, but also having those small pockets of community that you continually rely on. Like me and you talk what 3-4 times a week.
Most definitely.
Yeah, three four
Probably
times
see
a
each
week.
other once a week. If
Yeah,
not, for sure, once every 2 weeks by then.
that's
Yeah.
close community.
Yeah.
So
I can agree with that. I can agree with that. I guess I just like to tell people, like, know your role. But I also like to know my role too, because I don't want to be trying to cross into a space that I'm not supposed to be in.
okay,
Because then, because I think sometimes people can have a little bit of an issue setting up a boundary or being vocal about that boundary and saying, like, hey, that's not really the space I want you to be in. You know? I mean, not in those words, but the same principle or whatever.
what does that look like though?
Knowing your role.
No, like when you can maybe feel that there is a boundary, and because I've been there. I felt like
It feels like misalignment.
yes, I
It
think
feels
that's
like
the perfect.
misalignment. It doesn't feel, there's not really a seance to it. It's not really smooth. It's more kind of like, if you can compare it to like the ocean, it's choppy.
It ain't. Is there's no
It ain't.
cohesion.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean like
And to others, I guess you could say it would feel forced.
yeah,
Which is the same thing as saying misalignment, essentially. But yeah.
because like sometimes you may want to have community with somebody who's not necessarily looking for community, because we're all in different phases of our lives. Like some people are. I know I had a heavy isolation and destruction phase or whatever. I wasn't a good community member then, and I definitely wasn't looking for a community.
So you think that community is more important in certain phases of life then?
I think it's important in all phases of life, but it can't just be one sided. I don't think community works that way.
It doesn't work
So
that way.
when I didn't have community, it was very much because I decided to isolate and not be a member of my community, and then also not accept community.
So in other words, y'all, you got to be open to accepting, not just being a part of community, but also receiving your community or the community.
Intent is everything too.
That might be a whole nother episode.
I'm just saying
Intentions.
though, be very intentful. Like if you're trying to build community, you have to be very intentful on what you're looking for. Because some people, like my mama got this saying, if you met them in the club, leave them in the club. Mostly she was talking about niggas and your interactions with men and stuff. But like if you meet a bunch of people at the club, that's not to say that they can't be community. But you got to actually see if that's what they're wanting. That wouldn't be the first place I would go to looking for like a sister friend or something like that.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean?
It might be your party friend.
It might be your party friend.
Your going out friend.
Hey girl, I had a rough week. Let's go grab a drink, and you know, and that's a part of community too. But just know that like it's different.
Yeah.
Like the people you party with can be people that you love and everything, but I prefer those people that you can party with and y'all love. You're multifaceted. Like I knew if we would go get a drink, go shopping, go back to the house, sit on the couch, get drunk, talk small shit.
And I'm glad you said that, because I feel like it also depends on the person that you're doing it with. Cause I've had an ex tell me like, oh, you're not the party friend, you're not the friend that would go out. But I think I believe that certain energies can turn on different energies in other people,
100%.
right? And so that might be true for that person, but like you just said, I know if we wanted to go X, Y, and Z place, it's just like, okay, cool, what time? It's not but our energies mix well like that.
I would agree.
So I think that's something that people have to consider and not just throwing away or washing a friend away because they're not the party friend and they want to go and party or whatever.
I've never
That
been.
might not be their role in your life.
Nah.
You know?
Exactly. Because I'm not the party friend. Because like you said, it depends on the energies, who you're dealing with, stuff. I'm an introvert. The best place the most common place you are likely to find me is at my house.
I would have to agree. But I'm kind of an ambivert too.
You know,
Because
like,
when I'm out and I want to be out, it's like, okay, I'm out.
I'm outside.
But you
Please.
got a time limit. You got about a 3-hour window.
And I'm driving because when it's time to go, it's time to go.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like, I'll go out every now and again, but please don't invite me out 2 weekends in a row. I ain't going to be able to do it.
Yeah, I probably need about three business weeks and weekends to recuperate.
Don't get me wrong, because like me and you be up at Gatlin's almost every Tuesday, or at least a couple Tuesday out the month, and I'm very much committed to that. Because the $2 oysters, that's community, food. Wine.
I always got space for food. Don't get me wrong. I always got space for food. It's the other stuff.
And it's probably just because so much else goes. There's no faking with certain. That comes with that safety. Like, I don't have a problem with seeing you regularly or hanging out with you. My cup is never drained after hanging out with you. It's always filled. I think that's the most important part about also looking for a community. If you don't feel good after spending time with those people, or you feel bad,
you need to reevaluate.
Your energy ain't right after hanging out with people, them not your people.
Yeah, you need to reevaluate. And that's what I tell people. I tell clients the same thing. Like, tell my mama, all of them, like, pay attention to how you feel and how your body feels when you enter a place, when you leave a place, when certain people come around, when certain people leave, or when you hanging around certain folks, or even talking on the phone, because you can get it that way too. Talking on the phone with folks, and then when you hang up, you feel drained after you done talked to them on the phone, you might need to limit how much you're talking to them. Because they can really just be, it might not be a mutual relationship. It can be more like they're siphoning, your energy to pick themselves up or whatever they trying to do. And people don't know that they're doing this intentionally. Let me say that. A lot of people don't know that they're doing this. But that's the type of spirit that they have.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
And it's not necessarily like, oh, they having a bad day, a bad week. They've been bitching too much. I was bitching a lot this past week. You know that. It wasn't so much that, don't be there for your friend. I feel like in this society, we have to explicitly say, okay, if your friend's having a bad day, bad week, bad month, that don't mean brush ties. You know what I'm saying? It's consistently how they make you feel, how interacting with them makes you feel. It should be reciprocal as well.
I think we got to blame society standards on that too, though. Because we're in a society where it's like microwavable popcorn, instant gratification.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So if stuff ain't working the way they want it to work right then and there, then most people nowadays, they just like, okay, next. They don't even really know, you know what I'm saying, the depth of what's actually going on or not going on. They don't even stick around to even possibly see. You know what I'm saying?
But if someone was more so like instant gratification, that's not somebody I want in my community or somebody I want to be friends with anyway.
So when you realize you had community?
Probably within the last couple of years, I would say. More so since I've been living on my own and stuff. I feel like I've really experienced more community.
It's a great feeling to be on your own, huh?
Oh, 100, yes. Yes.
I know. I
Because
know.
it's like when I think about my community, I think about my mom, my sister, I think about you, I think
Mm-hmm.
about another friend of mine, Jen, I think about my friends that are not even in the state. That like
Yeah.
yesterday, I was on the phone for about an hour just talking to my friend on the West Coast
Yeah.
while I'm walking at the park, you
Yeah.
know? So I have friends everywhere, and community is more so a feeling, not necessarily, like I said in the beginning, a part of town or people that are just
Mm-hmm.
right there.
For sure. For sure.
When did you realize you had community?
Man, I would say when I lived up in Dallas, for sure. And when I was going through my last relationship, and you know how rough that was.
Demon Spawn?
And yes, and
My God.
you know, at the time you and I hadn't connected, but I'm just gonna include it as this, right? You know, you were here in Houston, I was in Dallas. My other friend was in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
My other friend, she was in Dallas, but ended up having to move. You know, her husband for his work,
Mm-hmm.
so they moved up north. And then my other best friend in New Orleans. So I didn't really have any friends at all, actually.
Like your
And
whole
at that
community was
time,
virtual almost.
right. But they showed up. My friend in Cali. You know, we went to university together in New Orleans. And so she moved to Cali. She used to be in Jersey, but moved to Cali with her fiance. And so one day I just realized like I'm going through all of this, and yet they're all in different areas of the world, actually.
Mm-hmm.
But they still show up. They still take my phone calls, or they call me, or they text me and check on me, you know, blah, blah, blah. And if it takes 2, 3 hours on the phone, like, okay. They like, okay, you know. And I'm like, man, that's awesome to have, because I've never been one to have a whole bunch of friends, like a big friend group.
Me neither.
And I don't like big friend groups anyway. I like real small, intimate circles. And I'm very particular about who I actually consider a friend. Like, I don't really use that lightly, you know. And I agree to your point. Like, everybody plays a different purpose and in different, you know, role in my life. But I can say, I think all of those friends, they kind of intertwine or intermingle in some
Okay.
kind of way. It might not be every single, you know, aspect, but for the most part, they they all. So that's when I first realized it. And then I even more so realized it once I came back home, and
Mm-hmm.
then you and I really started, you know, um, developing, you know, a closer relationship and everything. And it's just like it feels great,
Yeah.
especially as an only child. I mean, I do have brothers and sisters
Feels not
on
you
my
didn't
father's
grow up
side,
with
but I'm
them.
saying like I grew up as an only child, and I remember what it used to feel like to have so much happening around me and to me and not really have anybody to like talk to about it that was a peer, you know. I didn't have anybody to share that burden with. It was just I had to carry that burden on my own.
And that's what community is supposed to fix. Not
Yeah,
having to do things on your own.
exactly. Exactly.
I have a question for you. It's a little off script. What do you think about romantic relationships and their roles in community? Because like as we were just talking about, like your last relationship was very toxic and hard on you. And that's not, I'm sure you didn't go into that relationship thinking that's how it was going to be.
I
I'm sure you
didn't.
went into that relationship thinking, okay, I got more community. I got somebody else that got my back and things, you know.
Um, I think it's a blessing to have a friend and a lover in one. I
Yes.
don't think everybody has that though. Most
Mm-mm.
people probably don't have that. And I mean, I guess that's okay. If it works, it works. But if you don't have that, I feel like you definitely do need to have community outside of your house, outside of your person.
Right. Yeah.
Um, and when I say your person, I mean your spouse, because your person could not necessarily be your spouse. You know what I'm saying? That your person, that person that just gets you, you get them. You don't necessarily always have to explain something. You think about them, they call, or vice versa, you know, that type of thing. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you and your person are supposed to be together, because your person could be anybody.
That's true.
But I think it's a blessing to have a true friend inside of your lover or your spouse, whatever you want to call it. Because I feel like that's a good base.
Right.
You can always go back to that. And if you have a true friendship, then we would assume, right, that we respect each other, you know, mutually respect each other, and it's not no out of pocket type, you know, situation. So if we did have disagreements and things like that, I guess it would make me feel more comfortable that we could work it out more smoothly and easier than if we didn't have a foundation of friendship, right?
Yeah.
So,
Because I mean, there's been men in my life who obviously we're not cool or as close as we once were. But if they needed me or needed advice or something, like there's still I guess a familial type of community there. Nothing romantic, but just mutual respect and care about well-being. Like if you have an event, you're doing something, call me. I'll show up. I'm supportive.
To no events.
I'll be supportive, and then just like last week, my man was a big part of my community because I was bitching last week. I was bitching, like and then
it was a tough week.
It was a really tough week.
I think it was a tough week for everybody though, because everybody that I kind of talked to, even folks at work, it was just like even outside of work, they was just kind of like in this space. I never did look into what was going on astrologically. I was just so wore out, I didn't have time. But I think it might have been a collective thing.
Yeah, last week was rough.
It was hard out here for a pimp.
I had you, I had my man, I had my other friend Jen, who I was keeping. You know, my mom and my sister knew everything that was going on. Even though last week was really tough, I felt love from all of my community.
And that's what got you through.
Right, and it was actually a big step for me, like in growth for myself. Because whenever I be having a hard time, I'm quick to isolate. Like, will nobody hear from me for what days and weeks until I feel better? But it was nice to just like have people. Ma'am.
It is. I used to be there too. I mean, you know, I backslide every now and then sometimes. But it's not healthy.
I know.
Don't do that, friend.
I know.
Don't do that.
I know.
Talk to somebody, please.
I've gotten better.
You don't have to. And I try to make sure that I get this point across to most people that I come across. You don't have to suffer alone. And I think a lot of times we feel like or assume that we do because we don't want to be a burden on somebody else. And then you have the shame, the guilt, the embarrassment, those types of things that also come along with it. So it's like, nah, I should just keep it to myself because they're going to think this or they're going to say this or, you know, that type of stuff. And it's just like, why we do that to people?
There's no reason.
It's not giving community.
It's not. And sometimes I'm somebody that I don't really want to talk about what's going on, but your presence alone is enough to make me feel better. My sister knew what was going on, but she came over. We had a sleepover on Friday. You know, there was some wine involved and maybe an edible.
Wine involved.
Maybe an edible or two. And when I tell you, I ain't laughed that hard in a really long time. Both of us just cutting up, laughing so hard we were crying. My stomach was hurting. I had an ab workout from laughing that hard.
That's the best workout.
My face hurt.
That's the best workout.
You know, like, that's what I mean, like, community. My sister had a rough week, too. We both had us a rough week. We came together at the end of the week, had us some pizza, some wine, and some edibles. And it was a great time. It was a great time.
I'm here for it.
And laughs.
I'm here for it. So why do you think that community is lacking in today's time?
It's not enough. There's not enough genuineness, I'll say that. Genuine, like being genuine is not something that I see happening. Everybody has an end goal. Like, it's like, oh, let me make connections with people. What's some type of motive? Yeah. Like, let me use this person. I think that's how a lot of people go at it, whether it's like, oh, I want to, you know, use this person for sex, be in a relationship with them, I have romantic ideals, or like, anything, or I want to use them to get to the next position in my career. And don't get me wrong, it's a time and place for networking, but sometimes everybody being so instant gratification hungry or just want what they want, you miss the opportunity to get to know people because that's not your focus.
Yeah. So you coming with more of a laser focus, kind of closed mind rather than an open palette.
Materialistic, and just I want what I want, and what I want is, if I get a friend out of it, okay, I feel like that's how people are. If I make a friend out of it, that's cool, but that's not like that's not their goal.
That's that dog eat dog mentality.
And that's why whenever I'm out and I meet nice people, because it happens a lot. Sometimes I'm just in Target. I'm friendly. I be talking.
You know, they say Target is a place to meet folks.
I done met so many nice black women in Target. We just be standing in them long ass lines because Target decided they don't want to put cashiers no more.
They're getting like Walmart now.
If I wanted to check myself out, I would buy a bunch of mirrors. Okay, but
I hear that.
I
hear that.
They not So I be making friends with the ladies in line.
I'm here for it.
Me too.
I like Target. I'm a Target gal too. I'm a Target gal. I'm here for it. I bring a mirror if I want to check myself out.
Period.
Or they can give us a discount on self checkout since I got to work here.
I don't want to bag. I mean, as terrible as that sounds, maybe it's because I don't want to bag my own stuff because they give you this little bitty area to bag your shit, and so it's just like,
it's too much work.
Yeah,
I already have to put in work getting the groceries and stuff off the shelf. I got to walk up and down this store 3,000 something feet, 4,000, 6,000 feet. I got to walk around here picking stuff up. Got to push this basket. That's an arm workout.
Lyric.
And then got to get to the register on this little itty bitty thing and check it out too. And you want me to bag it and pay full price? There needs to be a discount.
And if I'm trying to buy a bottle of wine, you gonna come interrogate me with my ID?
Sound like free labor. That should be against labor laws or something.
I mean, I would rather have somebody else. But I'm not gonna complain because like I said, I've met some nice ladies at Target.
If your nice ladies see this, wave at the nice ladies.
Speak to the people that are in line at Target. They're tired of waiting too. Might as well make the wait pleasurable by engaging in friendly dialogue.
Yeah, most of the time I have in my headphones. I'll be listening to a video or something.
I can't do that.
I don't want to hear all the other things that's going on.
I'm concerned about my safety. My mom always be like, you got to be aware of your surroundings.
I know, but my spirit gonna feel it. You know me. I won't even walk into a place if something feel off. And I've never been wrong. To all my almost 30 years of life, I ain't never been wrong.
I feel that, but you never know. Like, we in Texas. I hate to put the stereotype, but so many people did walk around with guns. You'll never know what's on somebody's heart. Like, and I get very overwhelmed with sounds, lights, and smells. You know this. That's why I go.
And this is why I put in my music or something.
But I'm not. I have to be aware of my surroundings.
I keep one open. Just one in and the other one I don't have anything.
Somebody gonna get the drop on me. I gotta make sure. Ain't nobody watching my six. So you know.
I walk. Big G, he got me. That's all I can do. Say a prayer before I go in there, and I try to hurry up. And I'm still on pandemic mentality. You know how like when we was going to the stores and we had to like set a timer. You got 15 minutes to get all this stuff. You got 15 minutes to check out and get back in the car. That's 30 minutes flat. I still do that. Like I be trying to get in there and get out.
Yeah, that ain't gonna happen at Target. You're gonna be in line for 30 minutes.
Target, if you see this, y'all need to get it together.
You might make some community at Target waiting in line, but
So I guess this goes into the next question. How can we help the people establish community outside of going to Target?
Because I feel like we haven't said too much about the men, or but I think establishing community.
Get into it.
establishing community can be the same process for men and women, but I feel like it is a little bit more difficult for men because they have, it's been proven that they have a little bit harder time being vulnerable. I think there's a certain amount of
I think it's the
vulnerability.
way that men are raised, like from children. Boys and girls are raised differently. They tell boys don't cry, don't have no feelings, what you sad for, what you pouting for, but then women it's like, oh, what's wrong? Like they kind of actually feed into it amongst the other stuff. So as we get older, we're more developed and trained to be okay with having feelings, even if we weren't taught what to do with them. But we was kind of showed and trained that it's okay to have them.
Yeah.
Versus with guys, that a what?
It just
An emotion? What?
so with guys in their friend circles, I've seen that they can be. It's almost more accepting if it's a little toxic. I want to see more productive communities. It's just when I say toxic, I mean I don't see men correcting other men in the fact that we could be doing this better.
I agree. I think that in the guys spectrum, a lot of them don't really hold each other accountable.
That's what I think is missing in guy community. But
For sure.
And if they don't have the accountability, there's no community there at all. I want to see men have safe spaces with men. It's because
I don't think they think about that though. I don't think they really consider that
But
until
they
they
need it.
end up in a situation or position where it's kind of like taken away from them life. I was just talking to a friend the other day, and we was a guy friend, and I was telling him, if I was with a guy and his closest two homies, they constantly are cheating on their girl or whatever. I said that would make me not trust you because birds of a feather flock together.
Mm-hmm.
But then me as your girl, I'm gonna tell you like, hey, you need to watch him. You need to watch him or whatever, because if you can't be loyal to the person that you lay your head with every day, there's no way that you're gonna be loyal to a friend. Because the person you lay your head with every day is the person that's the person that's you at your most vulnerable and your most rawest.
But the men sometimes they feel like, oh, that's my homeboy, like where they see. But that's a topic for a different conversation. I said all that to say I would like to see. I think it's a bit easier for women to cultivate community with each other, but I would like to see men cultivate community with each other as well and really have those safe spaces. I have a friend who's the founder of the local Houston charity and give back and community. It's called Be Impactful, and he had a men's group last year just for men to get together and talk about things going on in their lives.
I think men's groups are awesome.
Yeah, I feel like they probably cultivated a ton of community in their group. There was a doctor there who she was the only woman, but she was just helping them facilitate the conversation of being vulnerable with each other. And actually, they were having conversations how they can show up for one another.
Right.
So I think that's really important for men to also have a safe space and have community.
It is. There's a lot of men out here that feel like they don't have that, but they don't vocalize it, but they've not been taught how to, or to even feel like it is okay. This book you was telling me about,
Yes,
that I did read a long time ago. I do have it. It's in my storage, but
yes, the book, and it's been popular. I think within the last couple of years, especially upon Miss Bell Hook's death. But
Yeah.
All About Love is a fantastic book that talks about the many different versions of love, and one of it is communal love. So having community, what that looks like, what that feels like, and she does kind of dives deep into the fact that our capitalistic society keeps us from having community as good of a community as we could have. So great read.
it's a short read too.
Yes,
it's
it's
only
not a
about
long
yay
book.
big. It might be 100 pages.
It's probably like 225.
220. Something. Yeah. I mean, I'm saying it ain't
225,
no.
230.
It's not a big old chunk of a novel.
It's not, but very good book, and it's not mushy despite the title being all about love. It's really exploring the different types of love across like familial love, communal love, spousal, partner love, all of the different types, communities.
So we highly recommend that y'all check that book out. By Miss Bell Hooks, and it's called All About Love. It's red, unless they've changed it, but mine is red. And like I said, it's not a long read at all. You might have to read it a few times. It's one of those books so you can really grasp it and comprehend the concepts that's in it. But awesome book.
Mine is all marked up and post-it notes all over it.
That's natural to a writer, y'all.
All right, I guess I'll take it. I got it.
Okay,
You know, I'm not good
right.
with these compliments. I'll take it.
We're working on it.
We're working on it.
Receptivity. Amen. Won't he do it?
Come on, somebody.
All right, well, I guess it's time for us to wrap up. Our community.
Y'all go build y'all some community and y'all have a good week.
An awesome week. Stay safe. How Auntie Tab say, don't go messing up nobody's day, nobody's week, nobody's month. We in a new month. It's March 3rd. And we're going to have us some more community after this. And we want y'all to have community. Until next time, greet and grace.
Until next time.
You really love him, he just don't rock the boat. You'll take my number, you think we have fun. I'll show you the dough and only text as a response.